For major road construction, there are two basic ways of laying a concrete pavement. By slip-form paving, in which the main operations of spreading, compacting and finishing are carried out by a single machine, or with a paving train, where these main operations are done by separate machines. When a paving train is used, the slab can be constructed in two basic ways, either in a single layer or in two layers with mesh reinforcement if used. At the head of the paving train in two-course construction is the base course spreader. This places the concrete evenly across the width of the pavement. After correcting the level with rotating paddles, the concrete is fully compacted by a vibrating beam. The next machine in the train is the dowel bar inserter, which accurately places the dowel bars at the joint position. Joints prevent random cracking of the slab due to shrinkage and thermal movements. But preparations for joints start ahead of the train. Firstly, to prevent bonding between the slab and the sub-base material, a waterproof layer is used. Then, crack inducers are firmly fixed at the required joint positions. Concrete is placed, and the dowel bars, one end coated with debonding paint, are vibrated into the plastic concrete. A groove is formed in the surface above the crack inducer, which will ultimately be filled with an elastic sealing material. If a crack inducer is not used, a deeper groove is cut into the surface. When tension develops, it is concentrated at the joint position, and the slab will crack. But the dowel bars maintain perfect alignment of the two sides of the joint, and the sealant prevents the entry of water and dirt. To ensure that the joint works correctly, it's important that the dowel bars are aligned and at the right depth. In the case of two-course construction, the indentations will be covered by the top course. But in single-course construction, the surface is restored by a finishing beam. Tie bars across the longitudinal joint can be set out ahead of the paving train or inserted into the plastic concrete. In two-course construction, a second spreader places the top course. This spreader is set to leave a surcharge above the road forms so that when the slab is fully compacted and finished, the surface is at the right level. As this machine moves forward, the sealing strip for the longitudinal joint is inserted into the surface. The transverse joints are formed by a separate machine above the crack inducer. The strips used to form the groove also act as a temporary filler, and when the concrete is hardened, they are replaced with a permanent elastic seal. A diagonal finisher is then used to remove any irregularities caused by the joint forming operation. The beams are angled so that as they pass over the transverse joint, the minimum of force is applied on the temporary sealing material. The effect of any slight inaccuracies in side form level is corrected by the articulation of the beam carriage. The beam action gives a very smooth surface. But smoothness is just the wrong thing for high-speed skidding resistance. Fortunately, plastic concrete has the great advantage that it can be given any surface texture. Wire brushing gives a good skid resistance. A longer lasting texture is produced by using a vibrating plate to form grooves in the plastic concrete. These grooves allow surface water to drain away quickly and give very high levels of skid resistance in both wet and dry conditions, combined with good riding qualities. The grooves are formed at random spacing, completely eliminating undesirable noise effects. Finally, the curing membrane is sprayed on the surface. The paving train produces a finished concrete road by a series of machines working one after the other. A slipform paver combines most of these operations in one machine. Moving along a level and prepared subbase, it leaves a finished pavement behind. It requires a good supply of material to maintain a minimum height of feed to the compacting unit. This consists of two basic elements. The conforming plate, which with the moving side forms gives the slab its required dimensions, and the vibrators, one horizontal tube and a series of pokers across the width of the machine which fluidize the concrete. As the machine moves forward, the hydraulic pressure of the material in the hopper forces it to flow under the vibrating conforming plate. This vibration is less at the rear of the plate, so that by the time the concrete leaves the machine, it stands as a finished, unsupported slab. The height and level of the slab and the direction of the paver are controlled from pre-aligned tensioned wires. Any unevenness of the ground under the paver's tracks is automatically corrected by the electronic controls, which keep the conforming plate in a constant relationship to the wires. The waterproof layer is dispensed immediately ahead of the paver to prevent damage by the delivery vehicles. Dowel bars for the transverse joints are loaded into magazines across the width of the paver. At prearranged joint positions, a row of bars is then automatically injected into the concrete. An advantage of this method of joint construction is that the lorries have unobstructed access to the front of the machine. Tie bars for the longitudinal joints are automatically inserted through slits in the conforming plate. The longitudinal joint sealing strips are then inserted into the road surface. Transverse joints are formed in the finished surface of the slab by inserting a preformed strip into the plastic concrete. A small float recompacts the concrete around the strip and corrects any surface disturbance. The methods of applying surface texture and spraying the curing membrane are then similar to those which can be used on a paving train. Another type of slip-form paver works in a slightly different way, using oscillating beams instead of a conforming plate. When reinforcement is used with a slip-form paver, a side feeder is generally used, which may incorporate a spreader as well. On the paver itself, augers even out the concrete to the correct height, which is then compacted by vibrators. Final compaction, leveling and surface finishing is performed by the transverse oscillating beams. As with other slip-form pavers, an electronic guidance system controls the direction of the machine and sets the height and level of the slab. For small and medium road schemes, a small conforming plate slip-form paver can be used. This machine enables mechanized construction to be applied to schemes which in the past have been constructed by semi-manual methods. It's a very adaptable machine. Its width can easily be changed. It can lay plain or reinforced concrete and can pave on small radius curves. With the small slipform pavers, paving trains, the larger slipform pavers, and the specialized machinery for joint forming and texturing, there's a wide range of equipment for concrete road construction. A road surface should have a long life with the minimum need for maintenance. It should have a good running surface whilst maintaining the highest standards of skidding resistance in all weather conditions. With the available construction techniques, a concrete road built to current standards will provide all these essential requirements.